What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody? So, for the rest of the semester, I've covered all the slides and all the content that I want to show you. Now we're just going to have fun and just explore some neat topics. Today, what I want to do is show you how to deploy an app in the real world. So we've already ran through a tutorial of how to deploy on the CSE servers, the servers that you're provided. Now I want to show you how to get a domain name and release something out to everyone on the planet, everyone with an internet connection at least. So I'm building a very simple app. I just got to finish up a few things with this app. This is what we were doing right before lecture. I just want to get Docker running on this thing. And then we're going to deploy this app. Very simple app. And then we'll work on this. My intent is to add features to this and turn this into an actual app that, does something. So where I need your help is, what is that something? And what we'll need today is, what is the domain name for that something? What do we want to build? What do we want to do? What do you want to see? So as I'll be watching chat as I finish up, just wrap up the Docker file. And I'm trying to do a lot of this from memory. I don't know why, but and I also have a little bit of a cheat sheet over here, just for the more memorization things, just so I'm not Googling too much. Python just maps to the version number. That makes sense. Just so I'm not Googling too much, because that makes for, pretty boring stuff. env. I want to set my root directory. env/root. Oops. env home. Set my home variable to root. CD. Is it just CD? No, it's not. Working directory. I had to cheat on that one. /root. I want to copy all my files into this thing, into the container. I want to run, which is literally run, pip install. It's just pip install, right? -r. It doesn't look for a file named requirements.txt. And then command python 3 app.py. That should be my Docker file. I'm going to run a Docker Compose file as well, because we'll most likely eventually add a database to this thing. So let's do, plus Docker Compose is just easier to work with as well. Docker Compose.yaml. Oh, I definitely don't remember the boilerplate at the top. Version 3.3. Services. And then my app. Ports. What port do we want to use? 8800. And my local port, I have this app running on 7999 in here. And by the way, this is the whole app right here. It just says welcome to the app, and there's a JavaScript file just so we have something to look at, some proof of concept that we have multiple files, that we're serving static files. A web app that randomly displays inspirational quotes made by an AI. I like that. We can do that. And I believe that's it. I'm gonna cheat a little just to make sure we're not watching me debug some stuff that everybody already knows. Build dot. Should be good. Let's go to the terminal. Oh, I keep doing that. Let's go to this terminal. It's web app. Docker compose up. I find that hard to believe. Where the hell did I never install Docker Compose? Is that possible? I suppose that's possible. Hey man, I don't know my password. Do I really not know my password? That's embarrassing. Is that all the ideas? We just got one idea. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna... I'll figure that out later. It's not gonna be fun to do on stream. It's a web app. GameStop trading bot, a clicker game. Oh, I should have added a... what you call it? A get ignore. It's a web app. So the A was supposed to be lowercase because it's like, it's a web app. I don't know if that comes across though. Oh well. Clicker game would be fun. I do that in 1.16 fairly often though. I wouldn't mind doing it again. Alright. So we have our app. It's on the internet. It's deployed. Do I have Docker Compose right here? Oh, shit, I do. Okay. Here we go. And I want this. Look over here. I want this somewhere where you can actually see it. Unexpected end of stream. Line 1 column. Oh, yeah. And I believe port should be in quotes as well. Should be an array. Those are actual errors. Does they have a dash here? That's really what it wants. Syntax. Syntax is boring. gotta be kidding me. Those are always the dumbest things. Create file. Could not create a file. Didn't expose my port, but I don't think we actually have to do that. Didn't even get into the Docker file though. It's just make it biscuit clicker. All right, I'm done dealing with that. We're just gonna do it on the server. So all right, let's start the deployment process. I don't want to mess around with that. Even if the app doesn't run, everything else will be valid. We'll go through all the rest of the process. So the first thing I want to talk about is DigitalOcean. This is where there are a lot of services like this, by the way. I just happen to use DigitalOcean. If you want to find a different service, that's fine. But what DigitalOcean does is for like $5 a month, you can have a machine with a static IP address, which is all I've ever asked for. Well, $6 a month now. I thought it used to be, oh yeah, you can turn down the settings and get $5 a month. So the cheapest plan is $5 a month for, moderate specs. You're not going to get anything overpowering with that. But you get a virtual machine that's yours. It's just a machine. You have sudo. It's effectively what you have with the CSE servers, except it's public to the whole internet and not local to the UB network. A machine where you have sudo. That's all I've ever wanted. If you're anything like me, you'll like this service or services like Dropbox. You can choose your distro, etc. You can customize things. If you're not in the United States, you can pick different data centers. You can pick more data. Oh, I guess you can't. You do not do multi-region? Probably can, but I'm not going to mess around with it right now. Etc. You set all your settings, and then you get a machine. I'm not creating a new machine right now. Oops. I meant to go to droplets. I'm not setting up a new machine right now because I have 2 of them already. I'm just going to use this machine. I'm going to take the IP address. That IP address is always going to be associated with this machine, unless I stop paying for it and they free up that IP address for somebody else. But that's always going to be my IP address. Same with this one. I control those IP addresses. So I'm going to copy that IP address. I'm going to go to my terminal. And there's some setup, of course, you need to do to get to this point. But I'm going to go to my terminal. I'm going to SSH as root into that machine. I'm in the wrong thing. SSH root. That's really drives me nuts how I have like 8 different command lines in Windows. Why do I have all these? I've complained about that already though. So now I'm logged into my machine. I'm logged into my DigitalOcean droplet, and I have sudo. Actually, I don't even need sudo. I'm logged in as root, so I actually don't even need sudo. I just can do whatever, because I'm the root user right now. You can set up accounts if you want. I don't bother, but you could set up accounts if you'd like on your machines. And you can see all the stuff that I have deployed here. And I'm going to go to my GitHub repo, and I want to grab this code. And I want to git clone cd into, well, I have a lot of things that start with I. Cd into that, and I want to see if we can Docker compose up this thing, and I want to detach it. Let's see if this thing will work. Oh, I didn't push the bug fixes. Push, commit, push. Git pull, Docker compose up. And hopefully this actually builds this time. There it goes. I don't know what's wrong with my Windows machine. Probably everything because it's Windows. And once that says done, wait, the script ended though before it said done. And let's see Docker PS. Let's check out all our Docker images and make sure that one's running. Oh, god damn it. Make sure that one's running. It's a web app running. And let's curl localhost 8800 and make sure we get that. And yep, we get our app. It's deployed. Cool. So we're happy about that. And our app's deployed. That's it, right? So if we copy this IP address and we go to port 8800, we can see our app. We got, on the icon. We have JavaScript saying hello. We have the HTML being served. So we're public on the internet. You can go to this site right now and enjoy this wonderful site that I technically am calling a web app, even though it's not a web app yet. It's just a web page, website. So we have some suggestions for what we're going to build, but we're at the point where we need a domain name, and we have 0 domain name suggestions. Do we want to do Biscuit Clicker, GameStop TradeBot, the inspirational quotes? We can add the inspirational quotes to whatever idea we have. Whatever idea we end up with, it can greet you. Awesome website. Come on, man. I guarantee you. I mean, I'll try. I'll get that if it's available, but I guarantee that's gonna be taken. Awesome website.com. Like 0% chance that'll be available. Awesome website. I typed .com, right? Doesn't even tell me that .com's available. It's like, why are you even trying that? Awesome website names.com. Awesome website.us. Awesome sites.page. Oh, because, yeah, it says it right here. Already registered. I mean, that would be a good thought. I like what you're thinking. And I would have scooped that up in an instant if it were available. But I don't know what I want to build. Maybe I'll think of an idea. If y'all don't have something you're more passionate about. A GameStop TradeBot, like we can't go live with that. We could get data. Jesse Hartloff's awesome website. That'll definitely be available. Bungalow Woes. I don't know if I'm going there. I wonder if that's available though. It is available. Isn't that a political thing though? Like Bungalow taking over isn't that taking over the government or something? I want to stay away from that. Is that DigitalOcean deploy project is free? No. Like the droplets? I just showed you the prices of that. You can get it as low as $5 a month. Hey, is there something else where you can get one for free from DigitalOcean? I'm not aware of a free tier that they have. Stuck Inside? I don't know if I get the reference to that one, so I'm hesitant to do something where I don't get the reference. Also, it's $2,300. Oh, that's Boogaloo. Okay. So what's Bungalow? I'm afraid to Google it just in case I'm getting set up. Okay, that's much less less bad than I was thinking. Oh, stuck inside. Oh, I see. Stuck inside, like, because of COVID. Stuck within. Trapped inside. If Jesse.com is available, I'm definitely buying that, but I doubt it. Jesse.fan. Twitch.tv. Thanks, Pockets. Definitely not springbreak.com would be a good one. Take a Walk would definitely be taken. But if Take a Walk isn't taken, I would definitely buy that one up. Isn't it definitely? No, I gotta double check. No, you were definitely right. I should have trusted you. Did I spell it right on the schedule? Now I'm wondering. Somebody would have called me out a long time ago, though. Is available. How about just not spring break? Since I can't even spell definitely. We good with it? So if you're tracking the cost of what you'd have to spend, it's not prohibitive. It's not that expensive at all. $5 a month for the minimal server. And then $12 a year for a domain name. And you can be deployed, and I don't think I want to auto renew this. If we don't end up using it, I want it to expire. And I'm going to check out. You can have the last 4 of my credit card. Still got 12 more numbers to guess. Alright, so I own notspringbreak.com. So what I want to do is go into my DNS settings. And I want to add a record here. No. I want to add a record here to get Google DNS pointing to my IP address. So I'm going to copy my IP address. I'm going to paste it here and add it. It's going to say it'll take forever to propagate, but it usually goes pretty quick within a minute or two. And now Google's going to say, okay, whenever I get a request for notspringbreak.com, I'm forwarding that to this IP address that you told me. So when I start going to, it won't be this quick, but I want to get it queued up. Not spring break. Network. Yeah, we're just not getting, not propagated yet. It'll take a little while. But on Google Chrome, if you switch, whenever you're doing this, if you switch browsers, it'll usually, certain browsers will do it quicker. No surprise that Google's browser found that change on Google domains quicker than... Oh, and we got it over here too. Quicker, but not by much. Now we have it propagated. So not Spring Break is forwarding to my server on port 80. So I have a domain name. So the problem is nothing's hosted there yet. It's going to port 80, and my Nginx install, which is the next big thing we got to talk about, doesn't know what to do with that request. So let's go to my Nginx settings, etc Nginx. And Nginx is a topic we haven't really talked about yet. Nginx, I'm using this as a as a proxy server. So I have multiple domains. I have 115, 312. What is this one? 442. That's a randomly generated name. 442. 312. I already said 312. 116 should be on here too. What kind of name did 116 get? Well, course pages underscore app. That's 116. So I have a bunch of stuff hosted here. JesseHartloff.com for towers. If you go to JesseHartloff.com, that goes to Towers Revival. Port 9009. If we look at my sites, in my Nginx settings, I have each one of those sites has a different configuration file. So if I go to let me just cat it. If I go to JesseHartloff.com, I'm forwarding all traffic that Nginx receives for JesseHartloff.com. I'm forwarding that to port 9009, which is being forwarded to port 80 inside of this specific container. So Nginx is taking a request by domain name and then forwarding it to a specific port on my local machine. So I'm running my apps on specific ports inside Docker. Docker's forwarding those ports to those containers. And then Nginx is listening on ports 80 and 443 and then forwarding traffic to a specific port. That happens to be a port, obviously, because I pick it, I set up this way, happens to be a port that Docker is forwarding to a container. So I can have multiple apps deployed on the same machine, and then have Nginx be the proxy that's figuring out everything else. So Nginx is the only thing listening on ports 80 and 443, the outside communication. Then Nginx decides which request is for which server, or which port, which ends up being which app that it's going to be. So I'm going to copy one of these. Let's do the 312 one. And not Spring Break. Then I'm going to go into not Spring Break and change some things. So most of this I'm going to delete. I believe I delete all of this, right? I don't think any of that's, I don't think any of that's necessary. And we want to say if the server name is not springbreak.com, I want to forward it to port 8800. I'll listen on port 80. And then I have to restart Nginx, which I just did, with Nginx Reload, which I always forget, so I just do, it's the only Nginx command I ever do, so I just do exclamation point. And then the first few characters, that'll run the last command that I ran that starts with those characters, which is always the reload. Now, when I go here, I should see my app. Yay. So now Nginx is forwarding traffic for the domain not Spring Break to the correct port 8800, which Docker is then forwarding to that container that I'm running, which is, in fact, my app. Progress goes fast here. The next thing I want to do is get security on this thing. So we need a signed certificate with our public key. We need to do all that stuff we've been talking about the past few lectures. This was the last key, no pun intended there, but the last piece that we needed to be able to go through this whole demo and understand everything that's going on there. So this is made super easy. I'm using Nginx on Ubuntu. And certbot's going to say, okay, here's how you install certbot. I already have certbot installed. And then when you want to install a cert, do certbot --nginx. It automates this whole process. It's fantastic. It's free. You should be using certbot. Certbot --nginx. Oh, come on. I forgot the T. Oh, thank goodness. I was about to panic. It's going to ask me which domain I want this for. I want it for notspringbreak.com. Now, to do that, it actually read my Nginx configuration files. It found all these servers that I have set up, and it asked me, which one you talking about? It looks like you got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm going to say 7 for notspringbreak.com, and then I sit here and wait. And right now, what certbot is doing is verifying that I actually control notspringbreak.com. So it's going to set up some files in Nginx, some randomly generated files, and then from its server, it's going to make requests for notspringbreak.com for those files, and then verify that it was able to recover those files. If it can, then it's going to be convinced that where I'm logged in right now, I do actually have control over that server. And it said, well, the test passed. I was able to create random files and then access them through this domain name. So you logged into this machine, must control that domain name. So I'm going to trust that you do control this and sign your cert for that domain name. Now it's going to ask me if I want redirects. Oops, I want redirects. And what this actually does is changes that file to be like the first file that we saw, the one that I copied. It's going to listen on port 80 still, which is for HTTP traffic. And whenever it gets a request on port 80 for notspringbreak.com, it's going to forward that to the same exact request, but HTTPS. So if you go to my site now, HTTP, like this is an HTTP request, what we'll get is a 301, which is going to say, no, you have to make a request for the secure version of this site. And then we get redirected to HTTPS, notspringbreak.com. We get our lockup here. We're all secure. We can look at our cert. We have a certificate now signed by Let's Encrypt. We have our public key. We have our public key. And then when we get a request on port 443, certbot is linking to all of the certificates that it has. So if I want to look at my actual certificates, if I want to look at, say, my private key, it's stored in a file managed by Let's Encrypt, and it's in this file. If I go to this file on my path, I can actually look at my private key if for whatever reason I wanted to, or if I want to use these keys somewhere else, somewhere where I'm not just using the automated certbot script to link everything. I can use these, I can shift these over to an Apache server if I wanted to, and link to these certs. It's a valid cert, it's a valid private key. It doesn't have to be Nginx just because I set it up. Happen to be using Nginx when I set it up. And then using SSL, getting the right protocols and everything set up here. And then only on the secure requests on port 443 using HTTPS, that's the only time we actually access, actually forward to the port that I have my app running on. Oh, that's it, isn't it? And that's it. We have an app deployed with a domain name and encryption. and we still have 9 minutes to spare, and I started late. It doesn't take long. Once you know what to do, anyway. The first time you ever do this, it's going to take you a long time. But I've done this enough times that I can just rip through the whole process like nothing. Any questions? Anything you want me to explain again, by the way? I know that went quick. If there's any point where I lost you, or if you're trying to follow along and I lost you that way too. Any questions at all? And y'all can go to the site. Obviously, it's public. Anyone on the internet can now access this beautiful, wonderful site and see the console saying hello from JavaScript.